On November 30th, the game opened and we got the Season 1 Clover Academy banner and then Red Yami's banner. Now, we are getting our first banners coming afterwards on the 9th of December, being the Midnight Sun squad featuring Rhya Licht in a dual banner and then Vero and Fauna in their own dual banner. Then, 10 days later on the 19th, the season ends and we get Season 2. And as of right now, the season banner has been shown from the animations leaked from global data mines that it will be the same as Canada, being NOELLE, Charmy, and Ghost. And then the pickup banner for the Midnight Suns end on the 23rd if the leaks are right, and we should be getting something special. And the two options are really just Kyoto and Kohono in a dual banner, or Julius. Alright, so now that we're done that, let's quickly explain dual banners and how they work. Basically, you are able to trade in dupes for one or the other. If you pull a Vero, then you're able to get a Fauna dupe twice only. Then the actual rates are 1% for each, so you're not really losing out on anything. Besides the fact that pity is 50-50, it's a 50-50 chance, no guarantee. You're never going to get a guarantee. It's not like Genshin where once it's a 50-50, then it becomes a guarantee. No. Alright, so that's the thing. Now, I want to try and convince you to not summon on these banners, and especially if you are summoning on Red Yami, to stop summoning on Red Yami, okay? I think that there could be a case made for the Midnight Sun, at least Licht and Rhya, but not for Red Yami at all. Now, I think it's out of the question to really summon for Fauna and Vero unless you're like, they're your favorite units in the whole entire world. But something else has to be prefaced in the way that these four will be going to the standard, or not standard, the unfeatured, and technically standard too, but they will be going to the unfeatured pool once their banner ends on the 23rd, which will not be on the Season 2 banner, but will be on whatever banner comes then. And I have heard stuff, not even like, not officially, but from the one leaked account that showed us the dates for the Midnight Sun, that potentially it could be Julius, but it could also just as easily be Kyoto and Kohono, because their banner animations are also there. So they will be on that banner if you are planning to summon on those units for a better blue DPS after Blue Yami. But Fauna, sure, she's great, but if you've already invested into Blue Yami or another blue DPS, it's not worth it so close after launch to invest in another blue DPS. Then for Vero, he is too much of a solo red tank to where he wants his team to die, but even at that, it gives him damage increased buffs depending on every dead ally, but it is not enough. Then his ult is just lifesteal. He's not really that great at tanking though, that's the thing. You could easily stun him, debuff him, and he just becomes useless. What he did need was either more attack, and then definitely to be more quick and also help the team. He does not help the team at all, so Vero is out the question. And the problem with Fauna also is because she's with Vero, and Vero is just not good. So the main focus of this video is going to be one, Summer Noelle, and just why I think that it just kind of devalues Licht and Rhya, and then also Yami in many ways. And then we're just going to talk about the kits very briefly, but yeah. So let's start off with these two. Obviously, we know why they're crazy. They have a combo together that looks like an Elden Ring animation. It looks sick, right? You can't go wrong with that. And it's nice. I mean, it is nice. It is really nice. Now, the reason why they're so good is obviously because of that combo, so we're going to start with that. Basically, it's just AoE ultimate, normal ultimate scaling of 120% for SSRs, and that is good, but it's the fact of the buffs it gives. So Rhya, it gives all attack increase on the buff, on the combo, while also copying one buff from Licht. Now, why this is good is because you could buff Licht for, let's say, attack or magic attack, and that buff is also going to go on to Rhya, and then they're both going to get the all attack increase, both increasing their damage just tremendously, which is great. And then Licht also adds defense penetration. So imagine an ult having all attack and defense pen. It's just really ridiculous. This is negating up to 20% or 20% of the target's defense, and you're increasing your own attack. It's a very strong combo. Now, what makes this combo even better is that Licht himself has an AoE ultimate, so that you could combo these two together and just wipe out teams in one turn. That's the way you use it. Now, I can't give a full should you summon because of the fact we don't know if their dupes are better. Because if they're way better, it's possible that you might want to summon because of the fact that hell, their dupe 5s might just be like, I don't know, 50% crit damage increase. And at that point, their damage is just going to be too good not to actually summon, right? And that is the case. That might be the case. We don't know, but at this point, we are chilling. There's no point to really go crazy on these banners, right? They are both very good units, but if you want to get one of the two, I would recommend that because of the fact that you want to maybe farm the blue dungeon, okay? The blue dungeon is going to be useful when we start getting into the later portion of the game. At the moment, we are very much focusing on the red dungeon because it gives attack, speed, and defense, which are the 3 main sets we want to get. It's just the most universal ones and also the easiest to farm, considering that we have like at least 5 good SRs you could use and then 5 SSRs or 4 or 5 SSRs that you could use that are all blue, which makes that the easiest and also the best dungeon to farm. All right, but once we start getting into the later portions, we're going to start needing a red and a green team, right? So you want to try and get at least Rhya or Licht. One of them I would say is the goal. Maybe do 5 multis. If you get lucky, lovely, good on you. Rhya is the better one though long term because he is amazing against bosses and is very good because of the fact of his ult. I'm going to talk about his ult, but besides that, Licht is just a double single target. Then he has an AoE and it all increases his crit rate. That's his whole kit. But he's a crit unit. He gets 20% crit damage on his dupe passive, which is just insane. He gets so much stats. And he is a full crit unit. Now, Rhya is basically a buffer unit where he actually has just Red Yami's animations, which is very funny. His skill 1 has, it's an AoE, right? Which is pretty good. It's Red Yami's AoE. Then skill 2 is a single target like Red Yami. Then the ultimate is the best part of his kit, in where also including the combo, where basically if he has 2 or more buffs, he's going to be performing an extra attack worth 70% of attack and magic attack, which makes his ultimate the highest ultimate number in the game, including the 70%. And then per buff on Rhya, he gets 15% increased damage stealth, which makes him a nuker. You could in the future probably do over 1 million easy, but at the moment it might be a bit rough, just like in case you don't have many buffers, stuff like that. But you will easily be doing 1 million plus with him, and he will be your go-to raid unit, which is why this guy is so good for PvE, right? So if you want to try to get one of each, or one of the two, get Rhya, okay? Now, Red Yami, the thing is with Red Yami, he is a decent PvE unit, okay? We got some decent stuff on him, right? Skill 1 AoE, which is the main part of his kit. Does he have the same numbers as... He has lower numbers than Yami. That's interesting. I think Yami did get buffed though, so to me that does make sense. Anyway, he has a guaranteed stun on the skill 2 if there's a bleed on the enemy, and his skill 1 does basically guarantee a bleed because he attacks 8 times AoE tech. Right, okay. Count it 8 times, 8 ticks for the chance to be a crit. So for the most part, you're going to get it because he slashes twice and each slash hits 4 times because it's hitting 4 enemies. So each slash is hitting 4 targets, and if one of the 2 slashes, which are hitting 4 targets each, get a crit, you get the bleed, which then on the skill 2 you can get a guaranteed stun, which is pretty good. And he does extra damage on bosses, which I think you could say you could have a good argument that he's good against bosses, but not amazing, right? It's really just having this, the AoE, which is good for grinding, and then this, which is good against some Hall of Illusions bosses in the future, right? But the thing is, this is the part where I say it's not really worth it, okay? It's not worth it for either or because of Noelle's typing. Noelle. We all know Noelle. She has pretty decent animations, but she's just a busted unit, okay? She's busted. She's busted, all right? Now, her being red immediately just takes Rhya and Licht off the radar for PvP. They're great for PvE, right? They are great for PvE, and they're both going to be pretty much like ones you want to use. Of course, if you have green Fuegoleon, then you don't need them, and I would say that unless you really love these units, you don't need to summon for them. But she's type advantage, and what's funnier is that she also increases her type advantage damage by another 10%, when she already does insane DPS numbers. So she just wipes off Rhya and Licht off the radar, and then she's just a better version of Red Yami for grinding because she has 2 AoEs and she gives a barrier. She's like 10 in 1 unit. DPS, support, and also technically tank, I guess, in a way. And she could heal on with her skill page, but I don't really recommend using her skill page. But anyway, her skill 1 has its AoE, right? Pretty decent scaling overall, right? Then her skill 2 is going to be a barrier. It gives a barrier to the whole team for 140% on max, and then she gives another extra barrier that stacks to one specific person that also adds a counter to the person who gets the blessing barrier, which is insane. And then she adds 10% favor damage increase, which is why it kind of like screws over Rhya and Licht because they're green. And then she's red and she's doing an extra 10% above the already type advantage, 20% damage and 10% crit rate. So they kind of just like fall off the face of the earth after what? It's going to be 10 days after, right? 10 days after Licht and Rhya, we get to Noelle, and then it's GG for them. And then her ult. she gives increased magic attack on the ult, and then for 2 turns after, which means this will also scale with this in terms of increasing magic attack, and then the barrier, which is based off her magic attack, is going to be even stronger. And since she's a DPS, she has very high magic attack. Her passive is magic attack increase, so the barriers are going to be 100k, and then with the blessing barrier, it's going to be up to like 200k sometimes. She's crazy. She's really crazy, and she is worth it, okay? Everything about her kit is good. She has 106 speed, the highest speed in the game at base, okay? The highest base speed in the game until Green Fauna comes out, which is 6 months in, okay? So, with no dupes, she is by far the best unit in the game, okay? Very high speed for a DPS, amazing damage, amazing supporting capabilities, increasing damage, and also making sure no one dies, giving counter, okay? She is just a 10-in-1 unit. And so you don't need Rhya Licht. You're going to be summoning for her, or you're going to be getting her through Gateway, so you don't need Rhya Licht. So I would stop if you haven't already, okay, summoning for Rhya Licht. I would say, like, you're not really going to, but if you are, because you like Rhya Licht, then, you know, I'd say stop. And then for these two, if you're thinking of using them in PvP because you've seen past videos where they were really good, there was some parts that were kind of problematic with the past in terms of the combo being bugged. So basically on JP, if you saw JP videos, the numbers were bugged because they were immediately counted no matter what level you use the combo at level 5. So you thought that like your level 1 combo was doing like so much damage when it was actually just doing level 5 damage, which added an extra 40% damage in total, 40% attack and magic attack. So, you know, it definitely added stuff. But anyway, Noelle is just really busted, and I will be giving her her own video talking, or just like showcasing her, actually showcasing her very soon. Not very soon, because she's still in like 15 days, but I will be giving her a video at some point, and I hope you guys listen to that video. And for now, I will see you guys in the next video, which obviously is going to be very soon because I'm at it. 10k is in the reach. We're in the less than 1,000 away. Less than 1,000 away. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I really do.